Today I want to talk about how we might be able to DJ a wedding ceremony in the rain. And I know this sounds ludicrous to some of you, because who would want to get married in the rain? Well, I tell you who. Our clients. We can put as many inclement weather clauses in our contract as we want, and we can explain this stuff to people, and they're going to be reasonable and say, oh yeah, you know what, that totally makes sense. If it rains, we're going to move indoors. On their wedding day, people aren't nearly as reasonable, and they're making very emotional decisions about things. If they had their heart set on this setting, they might just get married in the rain. They might be willing to do that. And I know people have gotten married in the rain. My nephew did it. I was DJing. Luckily, I was undercover, so it's okay. I ran into 2 situations this season where that was a big possibility. I had coverage both times, but yeah, one time they did it, one time they bailed out. What if they don't bail out? What do you do? My friend Jay in California and I have talked about this, and he's like, that's ridiculous. If it rains, you go inside. Then he was faced with the possibility of rain at his last event, and he was kind of freaking out. It's California. It doesn't rain a lot, right? So now it's reality to him. What do I do? What do I do? Let's say there's no coverage for whatever reason, because you put it in your contract, yet they didn't provide it, yet they're still getting married and they expect music. We can put our foot down on that contract and cite the clause and all that stuff, but we're not going to make any friends that way. So what would be a workaround? Now, I'm not suggesting it's even reasonable, but what would be a workaround for this? Before I go any further, I just want to say a couple things. First of all, I have a lot of ideas. They're not all good ones. Okay? This is just an idea. And I'm throwing it out there to help stimulate your brain to think about how you might have to do something like this. Let's say there's no choice. You're doing some kind of gig and you got to do it outside. There's no workaround. What do you do? What would be possible to do? Okay, how about the Electro-Voice Everse 8? This thing came out earlier this year. It's a cool little battery-powered speaker, right? All battery-powered. And it turns out that it's got an IP rating on it when you add this little cover. So you put this cover over the controls like this. It's got like a rubber seal on it. See that? You put this cover over here. And now you got IP protection. The question is, what is the IP protection on this? It's actually IP43. Now, what does that mean? When you're looking at IP ratings of anything, you've got 2 numbers you're dealing with. The first number and the second number. The first number deals with solids. The second number deals with liquids. So the 4 is the solids protection. Apparently this thing is protected against objects 1 millimeter or larger. So I could throw a quarter at it and it's not going to hurt it. But yeah, I don't know. It's not dust resistant. You can still get dust in this thing because it's a grill, right? But what about the 3? What's the 3 all about? For liquids protection, light rain and splashes. So not a torrential downpour, all right? But you are going to have protection when it comes to light rain and splashes. And you can Bluetooth with this unit. The problem is when you put this cover on here, you can no longer run any kind of microphone through here or any wire, period. You just can't, because all these things are covered now. It's the only way you're going to get the protection. So let's say that you had to do a wedding ceremony outdoors. You had this sucker with a light rain. You couldn't provide a microphone, but you could still provide ceremony music for them. I don't know. Processional, recessional, going down the aisle, all that stuff. You could still do it with this, as long as you had a Bluetooth device. Now, when I was thinking about what Bluetooth device you use, my first thought was, this was one of my favorite things right here, Amazon Fire Tablet. I'm thinking, hey, this is Bluetooth. I can Bluetooth it right up to here. What's the IP rating on these? Well, there's no IP rating on these, unfortunately. For whatever reason, there's not. So we don't know if it's low or high, it just doesn't exist. And then I got to looking at what my phone's IP rating is. I can't show you my phone because we're using it to record this video right now. But it turns out my phone has an IP rating of 68, which is very high. The 6 means it's dust proof. You can't get dust into the enclosure of my phone. It's not going to happen. And the 8, it's incredibly water resistant to the point where I think you can submerge it like 18 feet for like a half an hour and it's going to be fine. So any kind of rain coming at you is going to be fine. Incidentally, iPhone, same thing. I don't know what the iPads are, but I know there are a lot of Android tablets out there by Samsung and other companies that you can buy that have incredibly good IP ratings of 68. They exist. If you go on Amazon, you'll find them. But if you get a hard downpour and they're still at the altar and you've got this speaker exposed, it's not going to be protected from that heavy downpour. So what do? Got an idea. Take a garbage bag and throw it right over the top. Now you might think this is the dumbest thing in the world, but I'll tell you something, it works. And this is not the first time I've done it either. Like I said, had some gigs about a month ago, outdoors. It's Wisconsin, very late in the season to be doing that stuff, but people want the hauls they want and they'll take the dates they can get. When they got their heart set on something, they'll take chances with the temperature and even the weather. So anyway, not ideal, but if you had to, that's the way you could do it. It would work. They wouldn't get microphones, but they would get sound. In worst case scenario, throw your garbage bag over this sucker. In the meantime, your IP68 device, be it a Samsung Galaxy S21 like I have, or a tablet, or an iPhone, or whatever you have, check the IP rating on those things, but that should be just fine. You shouldn't have to worry about that no matter how much water's coming out of the sky. So, I don't know, there's a video for you. The good news is this video was free. Free stuff. That's what I do here. All for you. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you guys so much. If you have any ideas on this, let me know what they are in the comment section. Let's talk about them. Practice and enjoy.